Kites and trapezoids. Okay, this is a kite. You guys have seen a kite before, yes?
No.
Yeah.
Yes?
Sorry, but my
Okay.
Mexican childhood does not show us kites.
Okay.
Actually.
Here's a kite. Your first introduction to a kite. Okay, so a kite, it has two pairs of congruent adjacent sides. So look at the picture. These are congruent because they're touching, right? They're next to each other. I have two sets of congruent adjacent sides. And BD is the perpendicular, finish the word, perpendicular
Adjacent.
Line,
Side.
to
Angle.
the B,
vertex, OB,
Base.
bisect,
bisector of AC. Okay, what does perpendicular bisector mean? Perpendicular means they meet at a what angle?
congruent,
90
We're
degree.
90 degree angle, a right angle. And bisect means it cuts it what? It act exactly in half. It cuts AC in half, not BD. Got it? Okay, so that's what makes a kite. A kite has two sets of congruent adjacent sides. They have to be adjacent. And the diagonals, they call these diagonals. Okay, one diagonal is the perpendicular bisector of the other. Again, perpendicular bisector means what? Two things. Intersect at a
right,
90
or
degree.
right angle or 90-degree angle, and it cuts it exactly in
Half.
half. Okay, so what is the measure of angle AXB? 90.
Ah,
Okay, AX is 3.8. So what is AC?
if it's not, if isn't it AX 90?
Right.
What did you say?
7.6.
7.6. Why?
Wouldn't you add
Because
them
you're
together?
adding them together.
It's going to be 2 times 3.8
Wait,
So
where
it
did
would
you
be
get the 2 from now
7.6.
this time?
because this is 3.8. And what do we know about AC? BD divides it.
Could you add them together and get the same thing?
Yeah, that's what multiply by 2 is.
Okay.
Let me see.
If you ever can't see past that computer one, you know, let me know. So that's basic. That's basic, right? That's pretty easy.
I can't see. Don't do that.
Ever hear you're better at a door than a window? Parents ever tell you that?
Yes.
Okay, the lockdown this morning, what happened?
Okay, I don't know, but shh. Focus.
We're on YouTube right now.
Okay, so we have 3 questions. We have a kite. How do I know this is a kite?
Because it
There's
looks
a
like
lot.
a
There's
carrot.
2 sets of congruent sides, yes?
Yeah. Adjacent.
And then this is going to be a perpendicular bisector. Okay, and it also tells me it is a kite. So
What do you
since
like?
since it tells me a kite, what do I know this angle 1 is?
90 degrees.
90. If it didn't tell me it was a kite, would I know that was a 90 degree angle?
No.
Okay, so do we have angle 1? That's
Yes.
the first one. It's 90 degrees, right? Okay. Angle 2. Well, this is a right triangle, yes?
Yeah. 90.
So this is 90, and this is 35, so how am I going to find 2?
Wouldn't you add 35 and 90 degrees?
No, you
Subtract.
add 35 and 90 and then subtract 180.
I think that's what he just said.
Oh.
Yeah. You nerd.
Okay, so 180 minus 35 plus 90.
125.
So 180
50.
minus 125 is 55. Now, guys, I have a question for you. In a right triangle, other than the right angle, what do the other 2 angles equal?
45.
No. In a triangle, in a right triangle.
Yeah. In a right triangle.
Okay, so A, B, C. C is 90, yes?
Yes.
What does A plus B equal?
90.
Okay, that's not what you said.
I thought you meant like what
Okay.
would both angles
No.
be.
They equal 90, yes?
Okay, yeah.
Could I have just taken 90 minus 35?
Yes.
I
You
did.
did.
Yeah, I did. I said
When?
subtract.
Okay,
There you go.
I always just take 90 minus because I know the right angle is 90, yes? And I know the other two angles have to equal what? 90. But this only works in what kind of a triangle?
Right.
Right. So if you want to stick with something that works every single time, we do this, right? Okay, last one is what is angle 3?
You would have a 35 and 90. It'd be 35.
It'd be 35. Because what do you know about this triangle?
They're the
It's
same.
90.
They're the same, they're congruent. So 3 is 35. A little bit less involved than yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Will we have to show work on any of these like that?
If there's
Any
any
work?
like that work,
Oh.
but there's no work to 35. Or you could say that, no, because it's not even numbered. Like if this was numbered, you could say that angle 3 was congruent to angle 6 or whatever.
No.
Okay. The quadrilateral is a kite. So I know that that y, w, and zx intersected at what angle?
90.
90. I also know that w to the middle and to the middle to y are what? These
90
segments are
degrees.
congruent.
9 degrees.
No,
Wouldn't
They're
it be
congruent.
30?
no, listen. Not the angle, the segment.
Oh.
I know from W to the center and from the center to Y is also, they're congruent, correct? They're equal, because that's a perpendicular bisector. Bisector means cutting it exactly in half. So it says, what is the measure of angle 1? So
What
try
you
it on
took-
your own, try it on your own. I'm glad you guys are willing to help. Did you do number B? Did you do B? So do A and B. They shouldn't take you long, should they? Okay, Kyson, what is angle 1?
What do you mean?
Yes.
Angle 1?
Have a right triangle, yes.
Yeah.
And I know I have 90 and 30.
32.
You took 90 minus 32, yeah.
Oh, what?
That's all you have to do. I didn't want.
No, that's
I
why, it's
I thought that
fine.
would have been 90.
It is not.
I thought that would have been 90.
It is not fun. Do it right next time.
8.
No.
So it's 58. Or I could take 180 minus
32 and 90.
122.
That's harder.
And it's 58 still.
Yeah,
Those
that's
are
not-
two different.
Okay, either way you do it, it's okay, isn't it?
This doesn't make sense now.
Okay, 1. What's angle 2?
I'm for now.
32.
It's 32. Why?
Because they're opposite. Congruent.
They're congruent angles. They're congruent triangles.
This doesn't make sense now.
It makes sense. It's just easy.
Okay, guys, remember, how do I know this triangle, these are congruent? I have a 90-degree angle, yes? And is their hypotenuse congruent?
Yeah.
Is their leg congruent?
Yeah.
Plus, they share a side, yes?
Yes.
So its hypotenuse leg tells me that this is congruent to this. So angle 2 has to be 32. What's this angle over here?
Same as 1.
Same as 1. We know all that stuff. We're using everything that we've been doing, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I wish I could I'll use all 3, maybe I can. Okay, this is a trapezoid. You guys know what a trapezoid looks like, right? Okay, so trapezoids, this is some things about trapezoids that we know. That BE is congruent to CF. Those are called the altitudes or the height of the triangles on the ends. See that? Okay, we know that the roof of an isosceles trapezoid, DC is congruent to AB because it's called an isosceles trapezoid because it has 2 sets of congruent sides. So if it has two sets of congruent sides, it also has two sets of congruent angles, correct? So that means that this angle has to equal what? That angle. And I know that this triangle here is congruent to this triangle here. See that? So that's a bunch of stuff we know about it. Now, we also have these other if theorems. So this is an isosceles trapezoid because these sides are congruent. Top and bottom are parallel. Parallel makes the trapezoid, yes. Isosceles are the diagonals are equal. Then AC is congruent to what do you think? BD. So that means their diagonals are congruent. So now we have another one. Again, do we have an isosceles triangle? Trapezoid?
Yeah.
Trapezoid because we have parallel, right? Base is longer than the top, but the diagonals are congruent, so it's isosceles. So it says angle BAB is congruent to angle what?
BCD.
CDA. Or wait, actually we have to start with AB. C. The base angles. But that also means that ABC
Would it be BCD?
is BCD. Because there's actually two sets of base angles, aren't there? There's the bottom base and the top base. So given that information, we've got to find, we need angle P, Q, and S. So a trapezoid is what kind of a shape? What kind of a polygon?
It's a trapezoid.
Yes, it is a trapezoid, but it is a four-sided polygon?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So what do we know about all the interior angles? How do I figure out the interior angles if I don't know them? Remember your formula from yesterday?
You figure it out.
180
And minus 2.
and minus 2. So it would be 180 times, how many sides are there? 4 times 2 is 360, right? So we know all these angles have to add up to 360. 1. Can you take your hood off and pay attention? Okay, so I know that R is 135.
Isn't Q 135?
Q is also 135, isn't it? Because right here on our last, so Q
So when you
is 135.
And then you take one. Well, then wouldn't you add Q and R together?
I have to add Q and R together,
And then you subtract it from 360.
360, and then I have to do what with it?
Divided by 2.
Divide by 2 because P and S are going to be congruent,
Yeah.
correct? Okay, so 135 times 2
Is 270.
is 270.
And then, well,
So 360 minus 270
you should know.
is 90. I'm just working it out. And then P is congruent to S, which is 90 divided by 2, which is 45. Remember when we had isosceles triangles? When we had the vertex angle, we subtracted it from 180 and then divided your answer by 2. Is this the same thing?
No.
Oh, I didn't resave it. Yours is fixed on there, right? It's not double lined on yours. It's single lined, isn't it?
No.
Is it double lined?
Yeah. Double line.
That should be single. All these should be single lines, shouldn't they? Thought I fixed it. Those should not be double lines, should they? No, look at your top identities. Fix that too. I was pretty sure I fixed it. Maybe I didn't resave it on the PDF. And I thought I printed the right one. Probably I printed the wrong one. Okay, so I need to know what the measure is what? TS is what are you? Nope, parallel, right?
Alice.
So I know that this is congruent to this, yes?
Yeah.
So I could use transversals and things like that? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, if I needed to. I don't think I did. What is TUR?
Her.
You would add 47, 47, right?
No.
You put 47 over on the.
Well, 47, but I want this angle right here.
Yeah,
47.
well, you put 47
oh,
over
wait,
there.
The opposite of
And then-
47.
No, you put
74?
47 over like where we go on the other side, but then since it's a straight line, it equals 180, so you take 180 minus 47 to get the two angles on the inside.
133.
Okay, but what do I know about U and R?
133.
What do I know about U and R?
Your star.
Already got it done.
Or a line.
Oh, but you didn't say it though.
Look on your things, guys. What do you know about these U and R?
Okay.
They're the same.
They're the same.
Yeah.
So if I find,
Somebody didn't buy.
are you done?
Right.
Okay, if I find U, do I know R?
Yes.
Yes. So I'm going to use the fact that I have a straight angle here, correct? So 180 minus 47 is 133.
Yeah.
So angle R is congruent to angle U, well, TUR for being technical, right? So this is SRU. Okay, angle SRU is congruent to TUR, which is what? 133. Now, the way Connor was doing it, he's like, well, I know that 47 is on the outside on the other side too. I move it over there and subtract. You could do that also, right? But regardless, your answer is what? 133.
Could your channel get money with Mick on YouTube? Could you earn
If it
money?
starts getting like. a
No,
million
I'm
views.
never going to get enough views to make money. Okay, all horizontal beams on the high voltage transmission tower are parallel to the ground. Okay, it's important that we know that because then if I know that this and this is parallel, then I have a trapezoid, correct? Because in a trapezoid they have to be parallel. The top section of the isosceles trapezoid, the center section, this isosceles trapezoid. I don't know what that's supposed to be saying. Oh, the top is okay, so I have an isosceles trapezoid where the 14 is, and I also have one where the 10 is, don't I? One is just taller than the other. I have a hard time viewing this 14 as an isosceles trapezoid. Anybody else?
Yeah.
But it is because those sides are diagonal a little bit. So, what is the measure of angle 1?
138. It says measure.
Oh, measure of angle 1 is 138. Yes, I'm sorry. Oh, look at that. I can make the 1 a 138.
And the other side's 138.
The other side, this one here is 138.
Yeah.
So I need to figure out inside there.
Subtract.
Well, the bottom one too is 90.
This is 90.
What?
I thought you always said that if it's not shown, it's not 90.
Yeah, but it says it's an isosceles trapezoid, and up on your top box,
Oh.
it shows
I
you.
don't know. I disagree with that.
Up at your top box, it tells you your altitudes are 90 degrees. Okay? So just by the rule that it told me it was an isosceles trapezoid, so it has those rules. Well, if I know this, isn't this a straight angle right here?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I know this is 138 here, can't I find that one?
Or
Oh, wait a second. How did I do that? Oh, I can't make it that easy because that's not actually the 138 is the whole angle, not just with the line. Okay, so we have a quadrilateral. Yes, a trapezoid is a quadrilateral. Yes. So we know there's 360 degrees in the whole thing. Yeah. So if there's 360 degrees, so I need to find these two angles down here, don't I?
Yeah.
Okay. So I know I have 2 times 138, don't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I have 2 138s.
Yeah.
And since we need to know 2, and we can't put 2 in there because that would be confusing, what variable do you want to get it? 2 equals what variable?
X.
X. I'm good with that. So how many x's do I have?
2.
2. Do I have an algebra problem that I can solve?
Yeah, you
Yep.
can add all like terms.
Well, I'd have to multiply first, right?
Whatever, yeah.
So 360 equals 276 plus 2x. Then what?
Subtract x.
8. And then what?
Divide.
So angle 2 is what?
42.
42 degrees. Guys, isn't this the same thing we did on that very first example?
Yeah.
But I didn't write an equation, did I?
No.
Did I have to write an equation here? No, I didn't have to. I could have done the same thing we did before. But writing that equation doesn't put a process to it.
Ow.
How much time do we have?
Not enough time.
That's 10 for
4 hours.
Oh, we got it.
We have 8 periods next year. How much time will we get in each class?
45 minutes.
Oh, what?
45,
How many
47.
minutes are we in this class then?
Like 50 some.
55, I thought.
We have 8 classes next.
I say we get 35 minutes.
What about
Okay.
Class.
We got enough time.
They don't have more.
Okay. So,
That's fine, okay.
so one cross support in the center of the tower measures 4c plus 3, and the other measures 6c minus 5. What is the length of each of the support? Yeah, because it's an isosceles trapezoid, yes?
Yeah.
How do I know this is an isosceles trapezoid? Because we have
It just
set of
is.
parallel lines, yes? And my diagonals are equal. So since they are equal, we had a theorem on the last page that told me those diagonals are equal, yes?
Yeah.
So what do I have to do with 4c plus 3 and 6c minus 5? Set them. You said they were equal, so what do I do to those two things?
You guys have to own it.
Set them equal.
Oh.
So 4c plus 3 has to equal 6c minus 5. One, focus.
I am focused. I'm stretching my arms out.
How do I solve that one?
You combine the two like terms.
I can't combine because they're not on
You
the
have
same
to
side.
move
So I have to move them, right?
Minus 4.
You guys want to subtract 4c? So subtract 4c, so that means I have to add 5. So this is gone and this is gone. So I get 8 equals 2c.
And then divide
So c is
4.
4, but ask me for the length. So what do I have to do with c?
Divide by 2.
We'll put it back into
I have to put it back into the 2. So I'm going to have 4 times 4 plus 3. 4 times 4 is what?
6.
Plus 3? 19. So this one better come out to be 19, right? Okay, so 4 times 6 is
24.
24. Minus 5 is
19.
19. So it's 19, it doesn't, oh, feet, right? I always check both because if they don't come out the same, did I do something wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't take me much to check both.
Wait, how'd you get 24 for that one? For the
6 times 4 is 24. Okay. Given the isosceles trapezoid, where the given expressions represent the measures of the diagonals, what is A? Find it, guys. What do you know about the diagonals?
34.
They're equal. Mason, you're supposed to be working this problem on your own. What did we do in the last problem? We know the diagonals are equal, so you set them equal to each other, right? So 14.
Yes.
Ew. Oh, yeah. Never mind.
Now it just asked me what A was, right?
Oh, I did the length. too,
That's fine.
which I got
So 14, so you got 27, right?
Yeah.
And then 28 minus 1 is 27.
What? Where did we get 27 from?
Because 2 times 14 is 28. 28 minus 1 is 27. And 14 plus 13 is 27. Did you get 14?
Yeah.
Okay, so we found A, we just plugged it back in to find the length. Just a different problem. Okay, last thing we got, guys. It's a formula. Okay, when I have a trapezoid, do you see this? Okay, this line is halfway, and it's parallel too. So XY is parallel to AD, and XY is parallel to, guess what? BC. And XY is 1/2 the top plus the bottom. Okay? So if I want XY, I have to take 1/2 AD plus BC. So do you think you need to highlight that?
Okay, use your highlighter. Riley. Shut up. Yeah.
Do you have your little log out?
Okay, so we got one last example, guys. So I need to know what KL is, correct?
Yes.
So I know that XY is equal to 1/2 the bottom plus the top, right? So that would mean 25 is equal to 1/2 the bottom. What's the bottom? 4 over 5 XY.
Yeah.
And what's XY? Like, this is side XY. What's XY? 25. Plus, we don't know KL, do we? So KL, because that's what it's asking me to find.
So then
So
you can
this is over 1, right?
two.
Wait a second. That's 25 over 1, correct?
You can
Okay, so 5 goes into 25 how many times? 5. And 4 times 5 is 20. So I have 25 equals 1/2 20 plus, can I call KL X?
Yeah.
We call it X. So now what do I have to do with it? Well, I can distribute this, but I also could multiply both sides by 2, couldn't I?
What are you doing?
We're solving for X.
Just go along.
We're using this formula on here, right there.
You can just keep going. I'll figure this out.
But
maybe
we're
sooner
using
or
this
later.
formula, 1. Look, we're using this formula to solve for this side, right here. So it's the middle, 25 equals 1/2 the base times the top. And the base is 4/5 XY, and XY is 25.
So we have two choices. I can distribute the 1/2, or if I multiply both sides by 2, won't that get rid of the 1/2 as well? I'm gonna multiply both sides by 2. Because I can take half of 20, but then I would have 1/2 x. Do you want 1/2 x? No. So I'm gonna times this by 2 and this by 2. So 2 times 1/2 is what?
2.
2 times 1/2? What's half of 2?
More.
What's 1? Everyone get that? Because it's 2 over 1 times 1 over 2 is 1. So 2 times 25 is?
4.
2 times 25 is?
50. 125.
Oh.
50. 2 quarters, how much you got?
25 cents.
2 quarters, you got 25 cents?
At least.
And now you just go minus 20.
You know, a mile is
30
longer than 5
equals
feet.
X.
Which equals
No.
Kale.
KL.
Kale.
KL.
K.O.
Kale.
McGuire.
Okay, so
Should call
Names. No, your name is Kyle.
you're going to be using that formula. I think you have one or two problems. So we did get through all the notes today.
I will do this.
Well, those gonna ring in like 5 seconds.
Okay. No, it isn't because my alarm hasn't gone off. Okay, so put away your stuff and wash off your